So to continue on, we were in the midst of Naomi giving Ruth some advice about what to do so that she can secure her house so that it will go well with them, or to find a kind of resting place, right? Okay, so now continue on to verse 3. Okay. Varahatst, vasakt, vasamt, simlotayich, alayich. Okay. Vayarad Hagoran. Okay, and this word is repeated here. Okay, so I'm gonna and now wash. You go and wash. Now wash up and anoint yourself. And this is from Samic Kaf, Samic Vav Kaf Such, right? And it means to anoint yourself, usually with perfume. Also means to kind of pour out. Now, considering that they're very poor, it's unlikely that they have perfume, to be honest, right? But it's I guess to clean up. Okay. Interestingly, there's a little bit of wordplay here. Like I said, suk, from which this word comes, samic vav kaf, can mean to anoint or to pour out, right? Or it can mean, right, if you just kind of and there's a lot of wordplay in the Hebrew, right? If you just turn the letters a little bit to a samic kaf kaf, right? Sakach, right? It can also mean, so with one switch, the letter trilateral root, and samic kaf kaf means to protect, to shelter, or hide, right? This is where you get the word Sukkoth, right? Or Sukkot, which is a festival. In Judaism, the festival of huts or tents, right? So it may be that there's a lot of wordplay here, right? Because of course this whole charade, right, or this dangerous act is so that Ruth can find protection, so that, and by extension, Naomi can find protection, right? So there may be kind of, wash up, anoint yourself, doll your, literally she's saying doll yourself up, but underneath it, the words and the sounds are these kind of other references, so that we can find a place of shelter, right? A place of protection. Okay, and of course the fact that this is going to happen on the threshing floor when Boaz is kind of camping out, and of course what Sukkoth means is a hut or a tent, right? It also nicely plays with this kind of harvest, tenting out, that kind of theme. Okay, so wash up and anoint yourself, right, or put on perfume or put on makeup, or kind of and put on samt. Okay, similar to put on your coat, and this is a mantle, this is a cloak. Okay, so and you almost have this sense of concealing your identity, hide yourself, right? Because of course similar tayik, or cloaks were at points markers of the identity of people. So for example, Elijah's cloak, okay? Or in this case, it's the opposite, right? A way to hide your identity, right? Because of course, the revelation of the identity plays a kind of key moment, okay? And put your coat on over yourself, okay? I lie it, and go down, okay, to the threshing floor. And in this progression, you see this, wash up, anoint yourself, and put on your coat so that you can go down to the threshing floor. There's a kind of progressive element to this, okay? Now the threshing floor, I have blued twice, and it will reappear, as you will see, in other parts of this passage that I've given you, okay? And threshing floors are not, they are, of course, key places in an agricultural context, and as a result, they are thematically rich, okay? I think I will just scroll, so I asked you about the threshing floor when we come to it in verse 6, but I'll just explain it here. So there's a question, you got to look a little bit further down. Threshing floors were kind of flat, elevated places where a farmer would beat out the grain, right? And of course it's elevated because the wind would help you separate the wheat from the chaff. Okay, so as a result of the fact that it was elevated, that this was where food was found, where beatings of wheat happened, it takes on this huge, dense meaning. Okay, so threshing floors are associated with three things, right? They're associated with fertility, sexuality, and creation. Like I said, what you see in what Naomi says to Ruth, there's a lot of double entendres. Okay. Um, so it's and of course it's related, threshing floors are related to fertility and sexuality and creation, because of course food is gotten there, right? This is where grain, you do things with the grain. Okay, where you scatter your seeds, okay, or whatever. Okay, and it's also associated because of the fact that you beat the wheat there, associated with violence and punishment and death. And indeed, Isaiah 17, I have 13, but it could be 3 because sometimes I misspell. And Isaiah 29, Isaiah 17, Isaiah 29, verse 3 speak of sort of how the Lord will kind of treat his enemies. He will beat them up like one beats wheat at the threshing floor. Okay, so it also speaks of kind of violence and punishment, or has meanings of violence, punishment, possibly death. And what that does, the fact that she's going to, that is, Ruth is sent to the threshing floor, that secondary meaning, or the symbolic meaning of threshing floor, really heightens, right, or reveals how what she's doing here is very, very dangerous. Okay, that what Naomi is asking Ruth to do, it can lead to violence, right? I mean, it can certainly lead to rape, right? And possibly even death. Okay. Threshing floors, finally, were also liminal places, right? This was a kind of a place where heaven and earth connected, okay, and therefore were sites of ritual. Okay, indeed, and I believe it's 1 Samuel 24. There's a plague sent by God because David does a census, very mysterious passage, and it stops at the threshing floor. Okay, and a lot of people say, well, in later biblical texts, the threshing floor where the angel of death stops, right? God sends a plague because of David's census. It stops at the threshing floor. That place where the angel of death stops, right, was, a lot of people say, where or in the biblical text, where the temple in Jerusalem was built. Okay, so I mean, you could see this vision of the threshing floor as a kind of liminal place. Okay, and of course, why is it used here? In Ruth, well, of course, it means, right, behind Naomi and behind probably what Boaz will do, and behind this whole thing is God, right, who is going to kind of use his guy Boaz to enact his plan, which is to resurrect, really, there's a kind of resurrection theme here, resurrect this dead family. Okay, this as I say, literally this stump, what will become the stump of Jesse, right? I mean, so there's lots of themes interweaving here. Okay, so so he says, now go down to the threshing floor. Okay. Okay. So, wash up, anoint yourself, put on your coat, and go down so that you can go down to the threshing floor. And now it's kind of warning to tell you, again, what a precarious thing that they're doing, do not, tivad laish, do not reveal yourself to the man. Okay, do not, and again, this is not reveal so much as do not may it be known, right? This is again from Yada, right? This is, notice that this doubling in the first, okay? This is a nifal from Yod Dalet Ayin, to know, and notice how many Yod Dalet Ayin verbs there are. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, okay? Do not let yourself be known to a man, right? This is, of course, second feminine singular, okay? Imperfect, nifal from Yod Dalet Ayin, okay? Now, don't reveal yourself to the man, okay? Don't let him figure out who you are, right? Until, okay? Ad kalot, until finish, right? Kala means to, I think I talked about killing, until finish, le'ekhova lishtot, until he has finished eating and drinking, okay? Until kind of, there seems to be some kind of celebration that's going on, okay? So don't let it be known until all that is done, okay? Okay, now going onwards, okay? Vayahi, and I will talk about this word that is green in the next kind of video, right? Bishkovo vayadat et hamakom asher yishkav sham. Okay, and it will be right when it literally says when shakav means to lie down. It has a euphemistic meaning when he goes to lie down, when he's lying down. Okay, when he goes to lie down, okay, you will know yada again. Okay, then you will know the place. Okay, that he will lie. And then there, okay, shaman means there, right? So, when he goes to lie down, then you'll, just keep in mind, figure out where he's lying down. Okay. And then, okay, upaat, okay, vagalit, margolatav, vashakaft. Okay, and then so you're gonna figure out, okay, where he's gonna lie down there, because the sham, has a kind of directional sense to it. You don't always need to translate it, or I would put it in parentheses. Okay, and then you will go, so that you will go, right? And when he goes to lie down, then you'll know where he's lying down. And so by knowing this, then you will go, right? And you will reveal or uncover, gala means to reveal, means to uncover his feet. And you will also lie down. Okay, so there's lots of things going on there. Okay. Okay, so the first is, and the Shakov I will leave till, I believe, the next video, because I think I asked about it in the next video, right? Yes, okay. Need a little kind of, taste of what's to come, it doesn't only mean to lie down. Okay, big surprise. The first thing we have to discuss is this reappearance of this word yada over and over again, right? You see it here, I have it in red, yada, those who know, yada, yada, right here. This was a nifal here. This is just your, normal call, right? This is, call, va consecutive perfect, right? So it has an imperfect sense, second feminine singular, this kind of second appearance of yada. Okay, so why is there so many repetitions of yada? Okay, like I said, it's from yodalet hey, and it means to know. Okay, however, right, knowledge is not just like knowing stuff, right? In Hebrew. There's a kind of double entendre here, because knowledge, of course, is intimately associated with sexual knowledge. Okay, to know someone, right? This is a euphemism. To have sex is to know someone, right? Like I said, yada, therefore, this is why mudatanu, right, can be a relative, somebody who is connected kind of sexually or genetically, I guess is what we would say now, right? Remember in Genesis 2-3 about Adam and Eve, right? How they take of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and what happens? They realize they're naked, and it begins this whole cycle where, of course, human society begins, where they have children, right? Again, sexual knowledge, right? Also in Genesis 19:8, this is a Sodom and Gomorrah narrative. Remember, Lot is willing to throw out his daughters, right, to the men who show up to rape, I guess, the visitors, right? And it describes these daughters as someone, as they were virgins, they did not know a man, right? So knowledge really has a kind of the secondary connotation of sexual knowledge, okay? Also associated therefore with eyes, your eyes being open, right, and vision, right? And it's interesting that there's this yada and this gala, to reveal, right, simultaneously being used here. Okay, and like I said, there's lots of kind of winking out, right, and lots of double entendre that seems to be here. And so you can kind of, as an interpreter, you can heighten the sexual knowledge, or you can kind of downplay it, right? And it's kind of up to the interpreter. Okay. I've asked you to kind of, describe or outline or whatever, list the sexual innuendos. Like I said, to lie down, doesn't mean just to lie down, of course, to reveal, okay? Also, there's another kind, to reveal, to know, these are all kind of sexually double entendres, right? And the other one, the most obvious one is, and which has befuddled translator, is of course, regal, right, foot, right? Reveal or uncover his feet, and you're like, what is it? And it's unclear whether Naomi is saying now uncover literally his feet, right? Or she's saying uncover his feet, okay? And of course, foot, like hand, like arm, is a euphemism for the genitalia. Okay. Now, some people, as a result, right, again, if you want to kind of desexualize the text, right, for interpreters that are interested in doing that, I'm going to assume that they're disturbed by the sexuality in the biblical text, they really point to this okay, and reveal, and uncover. It literally says from his feet, and it's like, what is from his feet? Just from his feet onwards. Like take away the blanket, like what, but they say, well, maybe this means something more than uncovering his feet, his genitalia. Okay, so again, like I said, the main has been used by those who want to maybe de-sexualize or tone down the sexuality of the text. Okay, of course, I will say, right, along with things like revealing and knowing and all, feet, right, lying down, the reality is that this takes place during a harvest, right? And the harvest is all about kind of like fertility, eating a lot, drinking a lot, having these like rowdy festivals. This is when everything is at bloom and you're celebrating that, right? Right before everything, falls dead, right? Personally, of course, and like, with the word zara, right, to scatter one seed, it's hard for me to think that this doesn't have, especially considering the context and considering the words, these kind of euphemistic words that are keeping used, and that there's not a lot of sexuality in this scene, right? That seems to be pretty obvious, that the kind of cycle of harvest, life and death, right, that undergirds this kind of epitomizes the agricultural cycle, is not being used as a kind of reference or parallel, right, to what happens with Ruth and Boaz and Naomi's family. Okay, and therefore sexuality is implicit in it, right? Because that's how you have kids and how you have, continue the family line and so forth. Okay. Also, I just don't think they were as prudish as we are now. So, okay. So going onwards, however you want to, translate that, reveal his feet and lie down. Okay. I've also asked you here to, Gala, this is from Gimel, Lamed Hey. I don't know why I don't have you parse that, it means to uncover or reveal, okay? And notice how that sound is repeated here, right? In the word for foot, regal, right? You have the gal, right? You'll also have it again, right? Later, to goal, right? You have lots of gal, g and lamed sounds, right? Okay. And so why? Okay. Like I said, right, the gimel lamed hey means to reveal. Okay, but it can also be euphemistically utilized to refer to the exile, right? Because of course, exile has to do with the your land being revealed, okay, or being naked, opened up naked to an oppressor, right, who will come in and empty out the land, right? So Gala has this kind of extended meaning of exile. Okay, so this idea of what happens when one cannot find a home. Okay, remember this vision of this emphasis on, we have to make a home for you. We have to find a resting place. This was really the kind of opposite. Okay, and so, why are they using this kind of word reveal, right? Again, I think what the text does very nicely is it keeps playing with secondary meanings, right? It wants to heighten the dangerous situation that Ruth is really in doing that, right? In revealing, right, or uncovering Boaz's feet, she also faces the threat of, being exiled, being thrown out, right? Of losing this home that she is trying to gain or obtain by doing this kind of radical, dangerous act. Okay, it may also, like I said, speak to or hint of when Ruth was edited, okay, which is maybe possibly during exile. Okay, because of course Ruth and Naomi, they kind of seem like symbols of, they're poor, they're women, they're outsiders, they're marginalized, they're suffering, they don't have enough food, they're in a very precarious situation. They come home and they realize at home, they're not finding security even in the place that they're returning to. All of this seems like something that an exilic community, an exilic writer would resonate with. Okay. You can also wordplay with things that sound like Galah. Okay. Gimel Ayin Lamed Gaal. Okay. Which sounds like Galah, right? And again, there is a lot of wordplay in the Hebrew text. You'll realize once you start translating, right? It also has a kind of negative connotation. It means to reject, to throw away, to abhor, right? And again, that kind of wordplay brings out nicely the tenseness, the danger of the situation that, by what Naomi is saying, Naomi realizes that, it can get terribly right, that Boaz can reject, throw away, right, Ruth, okay, and they will be therefore like the exiled. Okay, they won't find a home. They won't be able to return home again, so to speak. Okay, however, it has, right, the Gala, right, which is why you'll see it again later in this text, also can wordplay with very positive terms and sound very similar to very positive terms. In particular, the very, very, very important term Gimel Aleph Lamed Gaal. Okay, Goel. Okay, you've heard this, which means to redeem, to ransom, to deliver, to act as a redeemer in this kind of levirate marriage sense that I described. Okay, and of course, all of this is centered on, whether Boaz will act as a goal and a redeemer, right? And by extension, will God act as a redeemer, goal, for Naomi's family and people like Naomi? Okay. So there's, so she is also saying, right, or what the wordplay is also insinuating is it can go terribly, we can be rejected, but it can go so well, we can be redeemed. Okay, and either one is possible with this wordplay underneath Gala, or Goel or Gal. Okay, so there's lots of possibilities here. Okay, okay, so did I read everything? Okay, so reveal his feet. Okay, and you should lie down. Okay, and now this. Okay, and going onwards, vahu yagid lach eit asher ta'asi. Okay, and now he will tell to you that which you should do, and then he'll tell you what to do next, right? And again, I think this, the alliteration here kind of brings up the uncertainty, right? At this point, right, what Naomi is saying is, I don't know if this is gonna go well or if it's gonna go badly. Okay, but certainly it's kind of tense. Right, in either case, you'll know after you did this whether you will be rejected or whether we will be rejected, really, or whether we will be redeemed, right? And I think that's in part why she leaves it kind of open-ended and unclear and unsure, because she is not sure whether this will work out or not. Okay, and so Ruth, being a good girl, right, she says Vatomer eleha, and she said to her, Kol, everything I'll share that tomri that you say a love to me esa. Okay, and remember this because it will be repeated. Everything you tell me, I will do. Okay, so then now the stage is set, okay, for this kind of nighttime encounter. And of course, there's lots of liminal feelings here. The fact that it takes place at the threshing floor, the fact that it takes place at night, when the, I guess, the space between heaven and earth are thin, right, or liminal. It's a place of liminality. And of course, this makes sense because this is really a liminal place, a precarious place for the family of Naomi or for Naomi and Ruth, right? They don't know whether it will turn out well, and the family will be revived and they will find a place of security, or whether they will be rejected, right? So it can go either way. I mean, that's really what all this liminality significance is signaling. Okay, so for more on that, turn to the next video.